Voting opens tomorrow at 9 a.m. and closes on Friday at 12 p.m.
Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Emma, Deputy Chair. I'll be chairing the rest of this lovely meeting. Our next motion is a more sustainable Warwick. Is a green future, our UK government 25-year plan to improve the environment. Is anybody speaking for the motion?
This motion serves to encourage and congratulate the 25-year plan of this government to improve and help the environment. And it also serves to introduce some environmentally friendly schemes into Warwick University, such as phasing out single-use plastics in line with the Secretary of State for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, Michael Gove's plan. Apologies, I encourage you to read the motion since I can't really name them off one by one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this motion really is a poorly veiled attempt to do what the Conservative Association is currently trying to do with something that the Brexit motion has already shown, namely trolling the SU and their officials. There is no need to send a letter to Michael Gove. The SU is already working on phasing out single-use plastics. And really, all of this boils down to one thing, namely the Warwick Tories having adopted trolling as a political tool, much in the USA. So in that vein, haha, very funny, you truly are making Warwick SU great again.
Thank you. So I think there's definitely a role in this SU for a stronger environmental policy. This, as was said, doesn't really add anything to the current policy. What it does do is surprise in grassroots attempt to back Michael Gove's new chance to become Labour leader of the Tory party. So I don't know how that happened, but it's nice to see he's really going for the grassroots approach here.
Hi. So, just as a point of actual policy, we really shouldn't support the Green Future 25-year plan, and that's purely because it just doesn't go far enough in addressing a lot of the environmental concerns. I wish I could go through more here, but they did link it, so it just simply doesn't go far enough to save humanity, unfortunately. Thank you.
Just to go back to the first opposing speaker who said there's not really much point in it. True, there's not, but imagine little Michael Gove's face when he opens the letter. It's a nice letter of support. I mean, pretty much all of the motions that go through these meetings, these referenda, don't actually make a big deal. Also, I'd encourage the President in her letter to Michael Gove just to also go further and congratulate him on his successes back when he was Education Secretary. I think that would be a really good idea in the letter too.
Hi, so yeah, you might not like Michael Gove as a person, but and that's your prerogative. But the actual meat of the 25-year plan is pretty positive. And although you might say it might not go far enough, surely any steps that we can take to combat climate change and combat degradation of our environment is a good thing, and should be something that the SU should be supporting and encouraging that we do more of.
I would just like to say that. Yeah, we should be doing more for the environment, but my major problem with Michael Gove's plan is it puts the onus to do stuff on the everyday individual who, let's face it, we can all do our bit, we can all play our part, but at the end of the day, it's the big corporations, it's the oil companies, it's the fossil fuel that are polluting this world, and it's them who should be tackled first.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I don't know what people are implying. What is this assumption on with Warwick Tories? What makes me... In fact, I had a lovely time at Warwick for Free Ed, a meeting only a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, my point has really been made by the time I put my card up, is people are questioning the impact this is going to have. And really the same question could be asked for the majority of policies that the SU currently holds. Thank you.
I want to come back on the point that the person over there made about, sending a letter to Michael Gove. You know what? I'm quite excited for Hope to send this letter. But unlike the gentleman over there, his time as Education Secretary was not a good time for education. And I'm very, very excited to put that in the letter.
I'd like to echo the words of George and Alex in saying it doesn't go far enough, but my biggest issue is the notion that by the time this letter gets sent that Michael Gove will still be in position. The government doesn't seem to be able to hold on anyone for longer, and who knows what's going to happen. I think if you're going to send it to whoever is in charge, not specifically Michael Gove.
With quite a lot of debate here, I think silly political remarks about either's political position is kind of irrelevant, and things about Michael Gove's education kind of history is irrelevant. And if you look actually at the issue at hand, I don't really see what's wrong with it. I mean, maybe it not goes far enough, but what bad can come out of supporting this? Nothing bad's going to happen. And I just think if you're just going to argue against it, against people's basic political beliefs, which they've formed over many years, that's not an effective argument. If you're going to argue against it, can you actually form proper beliefs of why this should not be passed?
You know, I'm arguing against this because this is so frustrating that we are wasting everybody's time with this, bullshit, when a good motion could be proposed about single-use plastics, when good motions about the environment could be taking this place, like the motion about food bank, which I think Ben has proposed. Thank you very much. That is actually useful, right? This is not useful. We should not be spending our time on this. The Students' Union is not grandstanding. We are taking positions on issues that are actually relevant. And this is just so poor and not funny and
thank you very
pointless.
much. I just want to go back to Liam's point about the letter. The President cannot congratulate Michael Gove for his apparent successes, not just because he didn't really have any as Education Secretary, but also because that part of the letter wasn't mentioned in the motion, unfortunately.
So to answer your question about the reasons why this is wrong, number one, single-use plastics are being phased out. Number two, the plastic challenge is really not an effective way at trying to deal with plastics. Single-use plastics, and it's a waste of the environment officer's time. Number three, a lot of we'd be essentially supporting a government policy which the government isn't following. Like, there's a lot wrong with that issue, and that's even before saying it's not going far enough.
It's just a clear point about you're saying it's not going far enough. I don't see anyone else putting in these motions, and part of this whole thing just highlights how disengaged everyone is with the SU. It's just a select few of really political people here, rather than students in general.
Yeah, I agree with most of what Christian said. Again, it's a tongue-in-cheek sort of thing. It's satire, right? It's highlighting what the left often do with their... Let's look at the SU propositions to the NUS conference last year. Ban the monarchy. Solidarity with the people of West Papua, right? It's satirizing that. This is why this motion, I don't think the Hope should actually write a letter to Michael Gove. It's a bit silly, obviously, right? That's the whole point of it. It's satire.
I mean, you can talk a lot about how we're mentioning Michael Gove quite a lot and talking about Michael Gove, and it's turned into a debate about Michael Gove. That's because that's all the motion does. It seems to mention mostly Michael Gove, congratulate Michael Gove. There are a lot of things that can be taken from this 25-year plan and can be put into actual results. Stuff like packaging-free sort of aisles in supermarkets, that kind of thing. But that's not what's been done. So I don't see the point in writing a motion a week after the...
But yeah, basically, I don't think the SU is doing enough about the environment, and if you look at stuff like this and actually look at government policy, engage with it, the SU could really make a difference, especially with the single-use plastics issue. If you look around campus, how much single-use plastics is actually wasted, it's a lot in terms of the dirty, darkened terrace bar. That could easily be changed. And although it's a bit satirical, the whole idea about it is just highlighting how hypocritical the left can be, especially in this SU.
So just to point out, this is the third time that presumably the Warwick Tories have said that this is a satire thing, and they've said this for the EU motion too. We would like to point out that the arguments about left or right, what has been done in the past are completely now irrelevant in this, and you're bringing old things into the mandate of this and wasting all of our time on purpose so the union cannot do actual radical things about the environment and about tackling waste. This is just done to use everybody's time, and our policies that you can find are coming up in a minute and have already been done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have an indicative vote. All those for the motion? All those against? All those abstain?